and the password was "I'm here to see Daddy Clown." So we did, which sounds a bit dodgy in itself, but that was the password. And I thought, okay, cool, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means a lot. And let's go over to the maze. So I went over to the maze and I went to the ride home, to the maze host. Yeah, mate. He's like, yeah, you get your tickets. I'm like, yeah, I'm here to see Daddy Clown. And he just stares at me. He's like, all right, where's your tickets? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I am here to see Daddy the Clown.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Theme Park Loopy podcast. And today, as you can see, we've got a full house. We've got Dan, we've got Mikey, and we've got Brett. We're going to be talking about some spooky things. We're going to be talking a little bit about Valhalla. And we're also going to be talking about theme park fails. So when we've failed or when we think a park has failed. So we'll see where that goes. Firstly, I'll introduce our ghost host, Mikey. How are you doing from Scaretrack?
Hey, buddy. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me back on as well. It's always a pleasure to come on. So, yeah, things are good. Things are exciting. Announcements, and it's basically start of announcement season for scare-related news and such. So it's exciting. We've still got a little while before we can do anything spooky, but we've got Passage opening next month. So that'll be my first spooky thing. So, yeah, all good, man.
Thanks for that, Mikey. And Brett, how are you doing? How's the My Haunted Hotel going?
It's going really well. After I came off here, I have to potentially do another radio interview this week. Not entirely sure what I'm doing with it yet, though, so that'll be interesting. It's going very well. We're sold out most nights, so I am very busy. Eat, sleep, ghost hunt, repeat at the minute.
And is it I understand it's the Unexplained with Howard Hughes that you're going to be potentially talking to, hopefully?
Yes, fingers crossed. That's as far as I've got with the email. I think you know more about it than me currently.
And Dan, how are you doing, Dan?
Yeah, I'm really good. Really busy and preparing for another mad week. But glad to be here. Looking forward to the show.
Thanks, Dan. And okay, so let's talk a little bit about spooky season. A few things have been announced so far. A few things coming back. The first thing I wanted to talk about was that there is a new event apparently coming this year called Scaretopia. And I don't know if either you or Mikey or Brett, have you heard of this event? Is this something you're looking forward to? It looks like it's going to be in Cambridgeshire, and it says, think you know about scare mazes? Think again. Scaretopia is the newest attraction in 2023 horror circuit based in Cambridgeshire, utilizing technology first seen in Orlando at Halloween Horror Nights. So I don't know if you've heard of this one. It seems to be a new one that's coming to us in 2023.
Yeah, like I've seen advertisements for it, mainly on I think it's Facebook and Instagram, but I don't have a clue about anything else really. I've just seen the advertisements and that's it. It's always weird for me for an event to name another event on their own website. For me, that's a bit of a weird one. So I don't know. I don't think anyone who's sort of been in the game for a long time in the UK scare scene would do that. So for me, that suggests it might be some new people that haven't done scare before starting out. Or maybe they've got some really cool tech that you can get at Halloween Horror Nights, and they are bigging that up. But there's plenty of events in the UK that have same types of set and technology nowadays anyway. So I don't know though. It's something new is always something cool. So it'd be exciting to check it out.
I'm a big believer of new scare attractions and people coming into the industry and trying their hand at it. In fact, I did a talk about it last year at ScareCon, where I tried to give as many tips and pointers as I could to people that literally had zero budget to create a scare attraction, and who to contact and how about it and how to go about it. So I'm a big believer in doing that because we were all there once. I was putting bin bags up and still today put bin bags up if I absolutely need to sometimes. There's countless of bin bags you can't see at Terror Mountain. But I think it is strange having a new company come in, like you said, mentioned that they have technology, whatever that means, from Halloween Horror Nights or equal to, because what technology is that? Because that could be a negative thing. That could actually be every actor presses a button and comes out to a queue line, which is what Halloween Horror Nights kind of is. It could be a negative thing. We do things slightly different here and try to make it a little bit more immersive here, even though we don't have ginormous budgets like you do at Halloween Horror Nights. So I'm not sure, but I think their logo's cool. The choice of the yellow on the kind of black backgrounds, I think, is quite cool. It reminds me of that recent murder mystery called Glass Onion. I don't know if anyone saw the logo for that. That was always a logo I thought was really cool. So I did quite like the branding for it. I'm just on their website currently. They appear to be looking for actors and behind the scenes people. So not sure. There's no details on their website at all except for a place. So we will see.
Brilliant. And the other event I was looking at is York Maze Hallowscream. This is one that you may have been to before. So this is based at York Maze over near York. And they're going to have a number of scare mazes. Looks like one of the scare houses called the Flesh Pot. One is called the Singularity. That looks kind of crazy. I don't know how to describe that. Another one called Barnageddon. It looks like Armageddon. Then one called 2073. That actually looks like a Duke Nukem logo. That's kind of weird. A time-traveling adventure to a dystopian future is what it says. And another one called Corny's Corneval, which looks like a clown-based attraction. And I don't like clowns. I think they're creepy and weird, and I don't know why they need to exist. So will anyone be heading out to York Maze this year?
I will be, definitely. It's one of my favorites, actually, to be fair. We didn't get to go the year before last, after COVID. I really missed it. So after going after a couple of years, it was really good to get back. If that's the lineup they've announced, that it remains unchanged from the last couple of years. But each of their attractions they're really, really quality, to be fair. The Corny's Corneval, I believe that's the one that they have in an actual fun house that's open through the day, and then they just soup it up in the evening. But they really, really do soup it up. There's like optical illusions. There's corridors that get smaller and smaller and smaller. There's like a box room where it's on its side, so everything feels wonky. Yeah, so Hallowscream at York Maze is probably in the, if you're going to have the percenters of the industry, and though I've only been to a certain amount of attractions, I'd say that's in the top 10%ers of attractions.
What age range is York Maze designed for?
I think it's it might be an 18+ event. If it's not an 18+, it's definitely a 16+, because they do a Halloween event for 13 to 15-year-olds, I believe, where they have the mazes open in show mode but without any actors. And a couple of events in the UK have sort of adopted that now as well. I think Fear Avon Valley have done it, and a couple of other places. But yeah, so if it's not 18 or over, because it has alcohol on site, there are still a few events that are still dry sites, but it probably more likely is 16+.
Yeah, I've just checked now. Anyone under the age of 14 will be refused entry. Children under 16 must be accompanied by an adult over the age of 18. They do sell alcohol on site, which means anyone under 25 will obviously be ID'd. It says 21, but they've changed the guidelines for that now. So I'm assuming they're also doing 25. Most Scream parks now actually do alcohol. We made that move last year as a small little dip our toe in, and it went really well. There was this big movement a few years ago where people decided that it was actually safer to sell alcohol on site because people were drinking in the car parks. And then obviously you can refuse people entry to the mazes, you can cut people off. So it actually helps selling alcohol in parks, surprisingly.
Yeah, we did an episode on that a few years ago, actually. So I'm sorry, I know we are sidebarring a bit, but it is. I mean, one, it's a big money maker to sell alcohol on a site. It's a really good big money maker. And also, yeah, exactly what Brett said. We spoke to people in England, Europe, in the States as well, about parks that have gone from being a dry site to a wet site, basically selling alcohol. And they said that the issues had fallen, the actors getting hit had fallen, people just being general had fallen, because they weren't getting so tanked up in the car park before. Some of them may have got a bit too tanked up towards the end of the evening. And again, you have your security, you have your hosts, you have your management all there to take care of that. It just like at a theme park or a night out or anywhere. So yeah, it is definitely like you say, that sort of movement where people have now started doing drinks on site. Sorry, totally nothing to do with the news, but a nugget of information from
Good
Brett
time
there.
to just for the sake of your own promotion as well. Not that I it's my job or anything, but you could have dropped beer break in there.
I should have, and Hannah would be shouting at me now. But yeah, beer break. Drink responsibly, friends. But Hannah does love a beer at a theme park or a screen park.
They actually do really good videos and stuff about drinks and food and stuff at different parks and screen parks and stuff. So do check it out, because it is the knowledge that you sort of miss on these random theme park vlogs. Not many people actually go and talk about the food choices and drinks choices at parks. So it is quite a good watch.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I'll let Hannah know. Well, Hannah's probably watching this, having a go at me for not mentioning it. So hey ho, thank you.
I'm just waiting for my invite to be a break. So I'll keep an eye out on the post for that.
Sure thing. Hannah will drink you under the table. She's a beast.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I went to the rugby last week, and I had like 5 pints, but one of them was cause, so I don't think that counts. So I think we're okay.
Nah, I don't think.
Okay, final couple. Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Journey to Hell Freak Nights. They're just saying at the moment there's going to be scare zones, haunted ride areas, and outrageous live entertainment. I don't know what haunted ride areas means. I don't know if that means they're going to do River Caves live again, Ghost Train live, or what that means. But you can book tickets already. It looks like it's going to start sort of mid-October by the looks of it. Now, before we move on to theme park fails, let's talk a little bit about Valhalla. So, Valhalla at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, we saw some smoke coming out of Valhalla. I think that was designed. It's part of the attraction. It's the area that used to, before the turntable, it was when you go to the backwards drop, and then you go down the backwards drop, and it used to be kind of open and used to be able to see into the park. I think they've now kind of covered that up, but it looks like there's going to be some sort of smoke attraction. I think Valhalla was due to open originally about a year ago. It looks like potentially Valhalla's not actually going to be open in time for March the 18th when the park actually opens. Why do we think Valhalla has been delayed so much? What do you think is actually holding it up?
Historically, it had a lot of practical effects with fire and what have you, and smoke and actors and stuff, and then they had those issues with the boats historically and a few sinking issues. But I'm not even sure if the practical effects are coming back in the same way that they were used originally. So I guess it's hard to tell with this little information about how the ride will reopen, the effects it's going to use. So So I guess it's just speculation. But if they are bringing back the practical effects, which would be great, then I bet they're an absolute nightmare to get up and running.
And it's gotta have had something to do with obviously COVID and Brexit as well. It was due to open in 2021, and then obviously you may as well just write off 2020 as a whole. So totally understandable for 2022. Then that didn't happen, and now 2023. It's nearly March. If they were going to have it open for March the 18th, I think they would have announced that by now, because I mean, you want to draw people in on what are still going to be steadier weekends for Blackpool Pleasure Beach, compared to, I mean, it'll be busier than their WoW weekends were, or their White Knuckle weekends that they had in February years previous. But you definitely, if you had it ready, you'd be pushing it, because you'd be making that massive boost of people in the first weekend. So, Brexit having an issue on things, COVID, and like Dan said, if there are a load of new practical effects, it's just going to be a program. Get it sorted. There's just so much to do.
They took, I bet that sexy photo shoot took ages. It has been, and we'll get to this later, a fail, basically.
Is it anything to do with seasonality as well? So, like, obviously, water rides are inherently more popular when it's a bit hotter and sunnier, and it's obviously they've at the moment it's a bit rubbish anyway. Come March, it's still going to be pretty cold outside. Do you reckon they were sort of thinking, well, as long as we're getting there for, April onwards, June, July, where things get a little bit hotter and people are more willing to get wet? I don't know. Maybe that isn't a consideration, but who knows?
They could probably make a bigger deal of the opening ceremony there as well. Like, if it is nicer weather, they know more people are going to go on it. There will be a bigger crowd. They could have half-naked Viking pole dancers for some reason. So if they're going on their marketing, so
I thought you were,
yeah,
going to say half-naked Bradley Beaver then.
Wow.
It would be a draw. It would be a draw, as people that like teddy bears.
That would get me there. That would be it.
In a heartbeat. Who cares about the ride? Come here, Beaver. Ooh.
No, Mikey, no.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Valhalla, it's a bit of a weird one, is that you used to always get so wet on it. Whatever the weather in Blackpool, it just felt like you were drenched all day. I used to go on Valhalla at the end of the day because I just didn't want to walk around with wet feet all day. Although I did have a bit of a tactic where I would buy extra cagoules, or what are they called? You don't call them cagoules, do you? That you buy
Poncho.
What?
Ponchos, yeah.
I've called it. I've called him a gagool, or I love this one, Pacamac. Where did that
Pacamac?
go? Where did the word Pacamac go? But yeah,
it got packed.
Yeah.
It got packed off. So I would get a couple of extra ponchos and I'd put them around my feet. But the thing is, it kind of got to a point where the water was kind of up your ankle, and however much poncho you put around your feet, you just got wet anyway. So it was a waste of time. So I used to just wait until the end of the day instead. Right, okay. So let's move on to theme park fails then. I think I've asked you to sort of come with a couple of fails. So these could be fails where a park has done something that you consider to be a fail, or you've done something that you'd consider to be a fail. I'll start off with one, which is that when I went to Alton Towers, when it first opened again after COVID, I was queuing for Wicker Man, and I think it was about an hour and a half, and I, for some stupid reason, decided to drink quite a lot of water in the queue line. So by the time I got onto Wicker Man, I was absolutely bursting, and the poor ride-up was kind of pressing down the lap bar, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not sure." And in the end, I thought, rather than, peeing in the middle of the ride and everyone just having a bad time, I thought, look, I'll just get off and I'll run off and go down to the loo. So I let my wife just go around on Wicker Man by herself. I went down and went to the loo and had a lovely cup of tea. So I just really just wasted an hour and a half of my time queuing and then going to the toilet. So really, it was almost like queuing an hour and a half for the toilet. So
The queues are ridiculous, Alton Towers, aren't they? Toilets, hour and a half.
yes. Yeah, and Mikey, we were talking before the recording that parks should have toilets during the queue
toilets,
line.
man.
Yeah, why is it not?
Why
a
is
thing?
it not a thing? Oh, yeah. Why isn't it a thing? Like, I want them because I don't have the strongest bladder. That's why I'm always designated driver. Because if I've had a drink, then I'd need it every 20 seconds. So why? And it, sometimes on, especially a special event, Mardi Gras, Oktoberfest nowadays, even Halloween, long days, you might have a few drinks if you're staying at the hotel or you've got a designated driver. Like, or let's just be honest, if you're in a 2-hour queue, a 3-hour queue, there's theme parks and screen parks all around the world where you can go, oh my God, that queue is that long. Well, what are you supposed to do? Just take a empty Oasis bottle in your bag. Just because it's got a bigger head. It's easier. So why not have toilets in the queue line? Because it makes sense. They give you snacks in the queue line. Do you want to buy another drink here? Oh yes, please. What a silly idea! I need a wee. What you need is toilets, and Woden has one in Europa Park. I don't know if anywhere else does, but it is only one cubicle. So then there's a queue outside that queue. So let's just make it a thing, like toilets in the queue line.
Counter argument: this we could exploit a clear gap in the marketplace for theme park nappies.
Good shout.
That is not where I thought you were going to go with that.
Where did you think I was going?
I don't know. Charge people for the toilet? I don't.
Oh, I see. No,
you could
all about the nappy idea.
You could make them like branded as well. Just be careful what you brand. Don't have the black hole on the back of a nappy. You know what I mean?
I've seen worse.
Brand them properly.
The log flume.
That's a good one.
Super Atlantica Super Splash. That would be a good one.
You see, the more you think about it, the better the idea.
Yeah, okay, I'm on
I
it.
like this. Let's do this.
It's good.
Dragons.
I like it. Brilliant. Yeah, so toilets, let's make it a thing. Come on, Alton Towers. You keep making garden centers. Now we're telling you to have toilets in your queue line. So we know you can do it. We know you got the tools. Just make it happen. Come on. It makes sense. Mikey, what's your theme park fail?
This is more just it's an embarrassing fail, really, and it's going to make me come across as a bit of an idiot, but I'm not. I was in a really, really fortunate position to be able to get a couple of free entries into the Alton Towers mazes back in the day. So these are the days of Carnival of Screams. And it was really nice of them. They basically just gave us a password. I think it was the same as like the friends and family password that they used to have back in the day. And the password was, I'm here to see Daddy Clown. So we did, which sounds a bit dodgy in itself, but that was the password. And I thought, okay, cool. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. It means a lot. And let's go over to the maze. So I went over to the maze and I went to the to the maze host. You all right, mate? He's like, yeah, you got your tickets. I'm like, yeah, I'm here to see Daddy Clown. And he just stares at me. He's like, all right, where's your tickets? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm here to see Daddy Clown. And he's like, okay, can I have your ticket, please? And then rather than me trying to explain, I did it again. I was like, no, my Daddy Clown is in there. And he's like, I don't understand what you're saying. So basically, so this guy hadn't been briefed on today's password and just had some crazy guy come up to him, calling his daddy a clown or whatever, and him just thinking, man, the British public are really losing it. They really are. So yeah, that's my embarrassing fail that I
That's
was there to
brilliant.
see Daddy Clown. And to that day, to today, I am still haunted by that exchange of words of where I just looked like I had a kink for daddy / clowns. When really, I only have a kink for clowns. Do you know what I mean? What a fool I've made myself look.
Oh no.
Not daddy clowns, just clowns. So yeah, there is my first fail, I'm afraid.
To be fair, that's not
a good
your
one.
fail though. That's the ride-up's fault for
That's his
not knowing who Daddy Clown
his
was.
fault. Exactly.
Oh,
What
you're
a
never gonna
fool
live that
he made
down.
himself look like in front of everyone in the queue.
Yeah, I bet he looks stupid.
He looks like a silly sausage. But yeah, hey ho.
Funny.
There we go.
I'm going to do that now, and I'm hoping you'll forget this. But next time you come to Terra Mountain or somewhere, I'm going to tell you that there's a password to get in. I'm going to say that it's something absolutely ridiculous and tell no one.
Yeah, and the
And I'm
host
gonna-
is just like,
Yeah,
can
and
we
I
escort
hope
this
that-
man, please?
I hope that every other attraction designer hears this and follows me in this quest to make Mikey ask for Daddy Clown at every attraction he goes to.
Because you'll only be making yourself look silly, guys.
Oh.
Very silly.
I
Yeah,
love
there
it.
we
I
go.
love it. That's fantastic. All right, Dan, give us your theme park fail.
Right, so I've got two, and they're related, just for bonus points. So, I was for basically the bulk of my life terrible with roller coasters. Couldn't do them. Couldn't go near them. And it all started from an early age when I was like 6 or 7, and I went to Lightwater Valley, and I think my mum encouraged me to go on a ride, try and get me up and running on rides. So I went on the Ladybird after a lot of protesting, which is just like a little, it goes round. It is like a little roller coaster, but it's electric. It's not like a proper one. And I was that terrified, like absolutely terrified, after I went down the first initial hill, that I basically screamed loud enough that the operator stopped the ride after one loop and let me off.
You didn't scream, "Stop, Daddy Ladybird! Stop, Daddy Ladybird!"
Because that's a long, safe word. You need to cut that down. You need to cut it down.
Just needs to be Ladybird, really, doesn't it? As a safety word.
Yeah.
How do you know my safe word? Isn't it mad though how you used to hate rides and now you adore them?
Well,
I used to
like-
cry when I saw my mum go on a roller
Yeah.
coaster.
I think it's a similar sort of thing, isn't it? That something you can become so passionate about later is because you were actually terrified of them and then got over that hurdle that then gave you oh wow, I need to now learn everything about these.
Yeah, I think so. I think that there is an element of that. I think there's also like maybe you get such a burst of adrenaline. Like some people are maybe more sensitive to adrenaline and getting juices going. That maybe if you're like that and you're young, you can't handle it, and then maybe as an adult you learn to love the adrenaline and it becomes really good. So maybe that's a part of it. Should I go on to part 2, Ryan? Because that sort of connects the dots.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to move on to Brett, but if it connects the dots, then
it
carry
does.
on.
Dots
I'm
are
intrigued
connected.
now. Yeah.
Right. So then, years later, I got dragged to Orlando by my theme park loving wife, who takes me to Universal, and one of the first rides I see is Rip Ride Rocket, and Steph's like, right, let's go on that. And I'm like, I've never seen a vertical lift hill in my life, and I'm in my late 20s, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. That looks ridiculous. And I said, like, it doesn't even look like, look, if that breaks down, those people are just going to get stranded, and there's no way they can get down. They're just, what do they do? They can't get a ladder up there. That's ridiculous. And she said, no, don't worry about it. Never, it barely ever breaks down. It's good. And I was watching it, and in real time, it stopped and didn't start again. And I was watching it for like 10 minutes. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's broken down. She was like, no, it's just stopped temporarily. Had broken down. They were there like an hour. And I never went on that ride. Well, I didn't go on that ride that trip. I obviously have since been back and been on that ride. But thanks to Rip Ride Rocket's vertical lift hill, I didn't go on it that day. And I probably bottled most of the rides that day throughout the park as well. So that definitely didn't help my phobia of roller coasters. But later that trip, I managed to scale up my roller coasters. And by the end of the trip, I was actually really good. But it did take probably until I was about 28 to actually get good at roller coasters.
Has anyone ever done that? Had a weird... I was talking about this the other day, I'm sure, to someone, about having like a weird sixth sense for things breaking down. I don't know if it's because maybe you have a slightly bigger knowledge of rides and roller coasters or not, but I've had a few instances where I've gone to a fairground and gone, no, not that ride. And it has like broken down in front of me as I've said it almost. It's happened more often than it should. And I don't know if this has happened to anyone else.
I was going to say, when you said, do you have a sixth sense of something about to break down? I thought you meant like my marriage or something, because I've been thinking that for years. Why is she ever putting up with me? But with ride-wise, Brett, I'm just... I think you're a little bit like, Bruno from Encanto, and you're just like, you're seeing these things happen. It's a bit creepy. I'm basically just not ever now going to go, if I'm ever with you at a park and you go, that looks like that's going to break down, I'm now actually going to take your word for it and not get on that ride. You've been sleeping with too many scary haunted dolls and demons, and they've ingrained on you, and all you're thinking is you're looking at "Don't Look Down" of Oblivion, and you're saying to them, "You bet you won't look down. I'm not going to let you look down." Boom, stop.
It's a thing. It's happened at least 3 or 4 times where I've looked at a ride and gone, not a fan of that. I don't think that's right. And
I'm going to get you sectioned.
I don't know. It's either a thing or fairground rides. I don't do fairground rides anyway. I know some people that work on them. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them, and I could barely even push them. There's not a chance in hell that I trust the people I know that work on fairground rides to build those things correctly at all. So before I go on them, or let my friends and family or whatever go on them, I'll check them out. I'll proper check them out.
Can I tell you what I'm thinking when we go on Oblivion?
Tommy giggling fun. Fantastic.
That's what I'm thinking every time.
Oh, please don't play it again.
Enjoy it.
Mikey might not have even had any context to that, which is why he looks so confused right now.
I was just enjoying the vibe.
It's a good example of a perfect theme right there.
Yeah. Do you remember, Mikey? You came on the podcast a few weeks ago, and we talked about Oblivion having the Fanta overlay.
Yes, we did.
And so on the last episode, I said that I'd found the lost soundtrack that was used when they had the Fanta re-theme, and that was it. And it was the German techno guy, but actually it was Sam talking about his tummy giggling fun. So there you go.
I like it.
You've got to be careful what you say in these podcasts, because they end up in weird mashups of strange music.
I'm waiting for I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be something about a daddy and a clown. I can hear it now. But
yes.
it's
got to be like an announcement to a scare attraction, like roll up, meet Daddy Clown, something along
I'd
those
have that
lines.
as a text tone. Seriously, that'd be sick.
Well, do you know what? Actually, Mikey, you have actually had an intro before. I don't know if you remember.
I did,
but-
yeah, and it was a little bit too like
It got very dark and
Dark.
sexy.
let's see.
and
It's weird.
Let's not talk rubbish for too long. We can't take Derek Akora's word for whether cloggy exists or not.
It's true. That's true.
Gaston Scott.
I actually had someone send me that. I can't remember who it was now, and they were like, "Mikey, what is going on?"
It is
with
weird.
this single?
They
Like,
are weird. You
it's
just
when
have
I
to get
say
used
the
to it.
words "dark" and "sexy" to some dodgy, slightly seductive, dark music is sort of like, yeah.
It's got
Anyway.
an 80s vibe to it. I like it.
There is like an 80s underground, like
Yeah.
say a
Yeah.
password to get in this place. And
I'm gonna
Don't talk
loop
about
it for the new Killers audio next year. I think.
I
I'll do
like it. Yeah, with my little scene, dark.
Yeah,
and
you got it, right?
sexy. Like it.
Okay, all right. So moving on, Brett. Let's say your theme park fail then.
Okay, I actually have a video. I don't know if you'll be able to rip this from my Facebook or not, whether I can find it on my phone. But I have a video confirming what actually happened here. It was at Alton Towers, and we all remember that Hex was standing but not operating for quite some time. And during a visit, just by chance, it was open for like 2 or 3 days in amongst a whole year that it was closed, basically. And me and Ollie went on it. And after the video not playing, the audio messing up in the Octagon room, we ended up going down to the chamber sort of thing behind the bookcase, and it hadn't lined up properly, so the people in front of us couldn't get off. So we had to wait there for ages listening to this thing not really working properly. We kept being given the whole "this ride is stopped working" sort of announcement, and eventually it worked. We were allowed on the ride, the doors opened, and something felt off. Something just didn't feel quite right. So the doors close, and we just start moving. There is no sound. There is no lights. There is nothing. The room just starts moving. Now, anyone who hasn't seen Hex, it is a Vekoma madhouse, and the room spins around you as the gondola moves a little bit either side. I think it's 15 degrees. But there's obviously a big show behind it all with loads of music and lighting effects, and nothing happened. And it ran the whole 2-3 minute sequence in the dark with just one of the two spotlights on in the roof. And it was the
Again.
most bizarre thing.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
This
So
whole
I
thing
actually,
sounds amazing.
I got off and I was like, I loved it. I thought it was the most ridiculous but cool thing ever. And that video that I've sent you a link to on my Facebook is me coming off to my phone going, guys, if you're at Alton Towers, get on Hex now, because you'll never see it like this ever again. It was ridiculous. It was such a fail, but from an enthusiast that has seen it over and over again, it was quite cool.
It only further sort of concludes the fact that you are some sort of demon. That's, well, I'm not. I'm never.
I guess
I'm
so.
never going on a ride with you again.
Oh, here we go.
I think we might have it. Let's see. Let's see if this.
If anyone is at Alton Towers today, go on Hex. There is no audio, no show whatsoever. You just spin round in the dark. It's so ridiculous. Poor thing. If anyone is at Alton Towers today,
There you go. It just spins around in the dark.
Yeah,
Right.
it did. It was.
It looks like that was filmed on a Sega My X6 in 2007.
Yeah. This was when Hex first opened. Did I not tell you that? It was in the year 2000. No, it was this year, right? Or last year, I believe. So not entirely sure why my phone decided to film in potato quality, but
Nice. My working theory now, Brett, is not that you're creating these issues with your demon powers, but that you're just really oblivious to what you're seeing. So, like, whereas I would look at a ride and think, no, I'm not going on that because there are sparks flying, there are loud snapping noises, a bit of it looks like it's on fire. You're like, there's something a bit wrong about this ride, but I think I'll give it a go anyway.
yeah, or maybe I'm like, what is it? Is it, if I think of things, do they happen? Is that, like, is that something we can do?
Like telekinesis or something, is it?
Yeah, like if I think something, does it happen? There you go. That could be it.
Oh, well, I'm not going to tell what you've just done to me, Brett, but it's absolutely disgusting.
I was thinking about it. We were all thinking about it.
Thank you very much. Oh, well, that's been some cracking theme park fails there. Then I've enjoyed that. Mikey, what's coming up on Scare Track? What have we got to look forward to?
So at the moment, it probably feels like we're a little bit in hibernation, but we obviously have opening weekend coming up. That's the main sort of big thing. Passage del Terra is celebrating its 25th anniversary, and they've started sort of advertising that on social media at the minute. So hopefully they're doing something a little bit exciting. When it was their 20th anniversary, we actually went to their sort of anniversary press event because they made quite a handful of updates to the actual house. So I'm hoping there's something similar, or it might be on a smaller scale, but yeah, I'm hoping there's some new stuff to see in Passage. So yeah, opening weekend, March 18th, that's the next big thing. And then literally a couple of days after that, we'll be checking out the Curse at Alton Manor, at Alton Towers. Can't get there for opening day, because getting drunk in Blackpool is far more important for opening weekend. But yeah, so they're the two things coming up. Still a few weeks to go, but once the season starts, that's when we'll be sort of going in 100 miles an hour.
And has it been confirmed yet whether the horror bar is opening or not for the opening weekend?
So it's been 100% confirmed. Well, it was confirmed via Blackpool Pleasure Beach's socials probably about a month ago now. And it said it would be open on I think it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Definitely the Friday, Saturday, horror bar will be open to all guests. So that was confirmed. But then we were actually looking at potentially, well, not me personally, but a few friends were looking at if they had the potential to hire it out for a load of thuzies sort of thing. And this was way before the actual announcement that it was going to be open. And the person basically they said no, because then the announcement was made. Since then, that same person has also said that it's out of action. So it's now, there's a bit of a rumor mill that it might not be open, and they haven't announced that yet. So I don't know. It's up in the air at the minute.
I think last time I heard it'll be open in 2020. 2021. No, 2022, 2023. No, 20.
Yeah, they dangle that carrot. One day we'll get a bite. One day we will. I don't see why they don't do it. I mean, it makes so much sense. They know that thuzies are going to be there. Like, it is opening weekend. Granted, because every park has decided to near enough open on the same weekend, I think it's going to spread us weirdos out. And of course, with new rides elsewhere opening and nothing really new happening at Blackpool, that might affect them a bit. But they know full well there's going to be a good handful of people that will put money behind that bar. So it doesn't make sense as to why they're not opening it. That we're all going to be just at Spoons as usual. And it's also St. Paddy's weekend, so there'll be more people out as well. So I don't get it. Why not just have it open? It's there. It's functional. It's still functional. It was open last year for an enthusiast event where they had the bar open and music and everything. So it's functional. You only need a few staff. Who knows?
Well, we'll see, won't we? Let's wait and see. Brett, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram mainly, Brett Jones 92, Facebook as well. I've just had to make a Facebook page called Brett Jones, which is ridiculous. No one should have to do that. But I get a lot of friend requests now because of my haunted hotel. So I have had to do that on the advice of Danny, who I work with, who has had to do that a few years ago. So that's weird. So you can find me on Facebook as well now, apparently.
That's good. That's good. And I think I've actually added you. I've added the other Brett Jones now on Facebook. I don't know who I'm talking to now. Am I talking to celebrity Brett or normal Brett? I just don't know anymore.
They're the same person, I think.
And Dan, tell us a bit about yourself, and do you want to tell people a little bit about On Air Club now that we've got it there on your underneath as your headline?
Yeah, so it's still in progress, but it's very close. So the first few videos are ready. They haven't yet been uploaded, but they will be shortly. So during COVID, I decided to get my private pilot's license, and I've been having quite a lot of fun with it. So one of the videos is my poor mum, who didn't know I was a pilot, and I put her in a plane and said that we were going to get someone to take us up and see the views, and I just took off, and it was fun. And I'm bringing up some entrepreneurs, some people from local charities, just interesting sort of thought-provoking people from around and about. And yeah, we're going to see where it goes. So if you want to follow me, at the moment it's just YouTube, but I will be expanding to other platforms. So at On Air Club, and hopefully in a few months' time we'll have some nice videos to see and interact with. I think the first one should be up and running in the next sort of 2-3 weeks.
Your poor mom. Bless her.
I know. She's very forgiving.
Mine would have killed me. Gone. You wouldn't be talking to me now. You'd be talking to someone else.
Well, not if you use your safe word.
Daddy clown.
Yeah, don't take Mikey up in a plane. He'll just be saying, "Daddy, no, Daddy, no." Don't take me up in the plane, Daddy. This has been a weird episode. Thank you.
It always is when Mikey's here, though, isn't it?
Whoa!
It's
Don't
always
blame
a weird
me.
one.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, I've heard episodes that I'm not on. You're all a bunch of weirdos. That's why I enjoy
I
coming
dunno.
on.